What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Ysn Power Hour, a Tuesday edition that's going to kick us off this week because yesterday being Memorial Day, everybody had the day off to remember and observe, of course, those who gave up everything for all of us, and they didn't even know it. So hope everybody had a delightful Memorial Day. I know that, three of the four of us were out there grinding. Matt, nothing you could do because everybody was closed, so not a whole lot of calls to be made. But I know that the three of us, Mac, Anthony, who joins the show today, and myself, we were downtown Youngstown and on the campus of Youngstown State University, and we were watching some softball that went down, and we're going to get to that in just a little bit because there is a lot, and I mean a lot, to unpack from that one single game that is going to have people talking for probably until next softball season. So we're going to unpack that in just a moment. But until we get to then, it is National Say Something Nice Day. And maybe this was more apropos for yesterday. So my question to you is maybe what's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to you? And let's give an example and set the example for saying something nice about somebody else. Mac, we're going to end with you just to give you a minute. But Coach, we're going to start with you. On National Say Something Nice, what's the nicest thing somebody's ever told you? And say something nice about somebody else.
Yeah, I think the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me was that, I had made a positive impact on their kid's life. And as a coach, that's something you definitely always want to hear. And as an example of something nice, I would just like to say to the three of you gentlemen that you did an extremely good job of covering that game yesterday. I think that you carried the YSN banner extremely well yesterday to cover, an instant classic of a softball game.
Look at you, spreading the love right here on the show. Anthony Hartwig joins us for a little cameo appearance. You'll catch him tomorrow on Running Point for the first time in, I think, a year and a half, 2 years? Ant, what's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to you, and what's something you want to say nice to somebody else?
I kind of go with Coach. I like the people that tell me kind of the impacts I made on their lives. I'm not a coach, but the impacts I make on either whether the people I cover, the people I support, or just people that kind of see me doing my thing and are inspired by, whatever situations I'm put in and the ability to step forward. But anytime that someone can tell you that you have been a reason why they're impacted, that's a big thing. It's a big burden to carry, and it's a big responsibility to carry to know that you are an impact on someone else. So as far as that goes, that's where I would go. And a nice thing to say about someone else, I'm going to just throw out to my partner in crime for the last 2 games in Billy Mack. I mean, he did a great job calling games with me. I was not surprised, but I was willfully impacted by his ability to shift from me to Quinn, because I think it's drastically different broadcast styles when him and Quinn do a game compared to when me and him do a game. And he rocked it. When he called the first and regional semifinal, he called the game, and then he was a great color for the next 2. So props to Billy for being able to adjust on the fly to different broadcast styles.
Look at this, a little internal love going on here at YSN, so I can appreciate that. I would say one of the nicest things somebody's ever said about me is the kind of people that we bring in here at the network. You guys know it's not as easy as just filling out a paper and you're on your way. For us, there's a lot that goes into it. It's a culture here. Are you a fan? Do you pay attention? Do you watch our shows? Can you hang with our conversations? Can you be present at YSN? And we give more opportunity to those who want it. But what's cool for me is when people come and say, I love the kind of people that YSN brings in, the people you surround yourself with, and because that means a lot to me, because it's a reflection of not only what we're trying to build here at YSN, but it's a reflection of the communities that we represent. And very, very, very rarely do we get someone that says, we want somebody different. So kudos to all of you guys for everything, and thanks to the person who said that, because that made my day. It just makes me feel good knowing that any person that owns a business or runs something, delegation is one of the most difficult things to do, and you guys make it easy. So thank you very much. National Say Something Nice Day. I want to say something nice to everybody out there and just say thank you. Thank you for all you do. Your support goes a long way. we've been able, at least to this point, to be able at least be even in being able to do these games. So special thank you to A to Z Athletics for being a part of that, stepping up to the plate big time, and for everybody that's really embracing the pay-per-view model, which we don't necessarily love ourselves, but it's something we have to do in order to run a business. So thank you, Billy Mack. The time everybody's been waiting for. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, being a coach, it's so it could be eventful. It's ups and downs, but for the majority of the time, after the years go by and you run into former players, it's super nice because they talk about the life experiences you have during them and how they relate to them growing as adults, and they always come back and say, hey, really appreciate some of the values and the life lessons that maybe you taught us during the game and made it relate to life in general to help me prepare to become a man or a young woman. And that's always pretty cool to have. A lot of former players come around and that's pretty awesome to have. I mean, anybody who's ever coached, that's a pretty good accomplishment in itself. You know for a fact that you did something worth doing outside of just wins and losses, because we know wins and losses are hard, man. I mean, a lot of teams go through them every year. We're going through it right now, but say something nice. I want to say, hey, I appreciate Michael Page. I really enjoy Michael Page coming on, and it really gives me an opportunity to kind of poo-poo and then make fun of him. So thank you, Michael Page.
That was not the direction. Compliment. I did not know that was going to go that way. I figured it was going to be another RVD moment where he just goes, I want to thank me. Well played, Mac. Very well played. All right. We got something in the comments. Thanks, I guess.
Pager, it was good to see you over the weekend.
Listen, Pager's one of the OG hecklers here on the show. Moser's in there too, and Sigler has become one of the leaders of the pack. So, as well as Kate and Carrie, when Carrie jumps on, they represent the other side of the coin, so to speak. And we're just very grateful for everybody that tunes in, and a lot of people, and I'm talking a lot of people, tune in and just watch. They don't necessarily chime in. So we appreciate you as well. Hopefully at some point you feel the need to chime in or being able to what are we calling it? The bleacher creatures. So I remember the 4-hour edition of the Power Hour. 4? I remember 3. I don't think we ever did 4. 3 was way too much.
He went to a different school. They didn't teach math like time. You can't really read a clock. It's all good.
If you tune into the Power Hour, you know where he went to school, and we're not going to say it because that's not a good look. But I will say this, guys. We just so much appreciate all the coverage and obviously that our fans help us promote, because it's now turned into a different game than when we started this thing. It's they support us. We're trying to get out there naturally, but they're the ones that are saying, hey, have you ever thought about doing this school? Or have you ever talked to this guy? Let me help you out with that. And this thing is growing just so organically, and we love it. And we're proud to root for our schools, including 2 schools yesterday that did business at YSU. It was Ursuline and it was South Range, and it was a rivalry that we've been waiting all year for these two to meet head on. And boy, oh boy, did they ever. A couple surprises early on, and then a couple surprises late, and then a lot of intrigue right there wrapped up in the middle. Mac, you were there. Ant, you were there. You guys kind of split the coverage, Ursuline and South Range, and it worked out well. We got a ton of great feedback from it. So talk to me about what happened from your perspective and why it happened. Ant, we'll start with you, and I'm sure Mac's going to color it right in.
I think South Range came into that game with the idea to set a tone. We want to set this tone early, and I think being the away team kind of helped them do that because they got the first chance to get on the bats, and you saw them score 2 runs early. Brie Kohler gets on board first on an air. Reagan Irons serves a blue single into right field, and then all of a sudden, Julie Stakowitz comes up and hits a 2-run home run after Brie Kohler gets thrown out at third. So I think that set the tone. That really did. It told the Ursuline Irish that the Raiders were there to play, and it wasn't going to be an easy game. And really, for the first time all season, the Irish found themselves down early. You look at all their games, even the close ones, it was ones where they led most of the time and a team fights back and ties it up or takes a lead late. But they had never trailed early in a game, and they had to kind of make that adjustment. Brie Kohler set the first with a 1-2-3 inning, and it kind of went from there. And then Ursuline, as that offense always does, they made adjustments. You saw them, I think, in the fifth inning, they got 3 consecutive innings with their leadoff runner aboard. They were starting to go with the pitch instead of trying to just hit home runs all the time. And then in the 7th inning, it kind of finally came to a steaming head with that offense. You knew they weren't going to get shut down. They made the adjustments. Mia Pollock steps up to the plate. She had been struck out twice. She didn't care. She went with a pitch up at her eyes and took it to left field for a home run. And then, of course, it comes down to the Barbados sisters. Liza hits a single, gets herself to second. Maris is a good at bat. Hits the ball hard. It just got to the warning track and got caught. It was a great 7th. Exactly what you expect from those two teams to go up and make it dramatic. And I think if they played each other 10 times, it'd probably be split 5-5.
Wow, look at you, politician, riding that fence. I like it. I can respect it. But here to fill in the realistic what happened yesterday and give it to us raw, I guess, because it still is less than 24 hours. It's Billy Mack. What do you got?
All right, let's just call the elephant out in the room here. Let's just hit it right, head on the nail right out the gate. The starting pitcher, Paige Ogden, as tough as she's been all year, coming off a no-hitter in the playoff game, the Ursuline Irish have had a definitive number 1 pitcher, and that's been Emily Holland all year. Very surprised before the game, get the lineups where Holland's not inside the circle. Now, the reason why I'm going to go with this route is because defensively, the Irish are perfectly set. I would argue to anybody that Paige Ogden is the best third baseman in the state of Ohio. I would argue with that with anybody that would want to sit down and have that argument defensively. And for me, anytime you get a chance to, quote unquote, have your number 1, and not only have your number 1, but your best defensive players all throughout, because now you're moving pieces around when Paige is inside the circle. So you have everybody at their natural positions plus your number 1. I think that's the question. Who knows what the real answer is to that? And you saw it come back into play in the 2nd inning after getting down 3-0. They come right back in. The Irish come right back in and fill in Emily Holland in there, who gives up 2 hits and I think 2 strikeouts and 1 hit by pitch. So, and no runs scored. So that's going to be the question that maybe haunts coaches for the next 365 days. So that's something to me. Hitting wise, the Irish struggled early, chasing pitches out of the zone. And to credit, that's Brie. I mean, Brie has a way of making you like an illusionist almost. Hey, the ball's here, and now it's here. I mean, Anthony and I were talking before the game about our partners at WFMJ, some of the pitches that Brie was throwing the game before and how much of a break it has. So she's tough to hit. And again, I've said on this show, arguably the best pitcher in our network, if not the entire state. I don't care what division, would be my first overall pick. So you got somebody who's tough there. Bree started to establish that outside part of the plate, and in Greg Maddox's form, just kept stretching the zone. And when you're consistently can hit that edge, you're going to get some calls out there. So with all the confusion about the strike zone and whatnot, I think the strike zone was established, and Brie Kohler did a phenomenal job of just keep hitting that right to a T. And the Irish didn't do a good enough job up until late in the game of making adjustments. They should have made adjustments early. Maybe Ant and I talked about it on the broadcast. Was if I'm the Irish hitters, I'm on the line. I'm taking that pitch away early in the count, and I'm looking for it. I'm hunting that pitch early because Brie Kohler, strike 1, would establish that outside part of the plate, and that's the pitch I'm hunting to go to right center field.
Yeah, and I think that what stood out to me, and this was from pitch 1 to the last pitch of the game, was there were, I would say, a handful of pitches in that game that Brie Kohler was not unfazed by. She was a rock. And even when that 2-run homer went, she just collected herself. There was a timeout called by Coach Farron. He goes out and discusses and said, listen, we need one more out. That's all we need to do. Get one more out. And lo and behold, as it stands, the replacement right fielder who stepped up in a huge way for South Range gets the last out of the ball game. It's a long fly out, which is 5-6 feet away from the wall, and Maris Barbado flies out to end it, and South Range moves on. But to me, the biggest difference was I still feel, and I know that we talked about, and we feel kind of the same way, Billy. There's going to be a lot of questions about why Emily didn't start that game. And we don't know. And that's not a question we're meant to ask. And if Coach ever wants to come on, he's the Coach of the Year. If he wants to come on and ever say to us, this is why we did it, we're happy. But this is what we do. We want to have conversation about it, because I think that there was a part of South Range, and they adjusted their lineup. Brie usually bats second. They moved her to the top because they heard rumors that they were just going to walk Brie Kohler. They were not going to let Brie Kohler hurt South Range. South Range did that, and then all of a sudden you got Paige Ogden in the circle, and I think that gave a little bit of momentum before the game even started to South Range, because they went, okay. There's a stigma that comes with Emily. That, listen, and you and I talked before the show, Paige is an unbelievable pitcher, probably the ace on every other staff other than these two teams. But whenever there's that situation where you're getting the 1 or the 2, and they pick 2, you feel like you already won. You feel like you already got a leg up on the competition, and I think that's what South Range had.
I just feel I just go back to defensively. Defensively, I think I'd rather play. Some coaches are big on let's play defense. Let's bring in Emily Holland at the end to kind of solidify your defense and a different look and a change of pace in the game. Like, I can understand that, but I think in this case, I think it's just maybe overthought it. Maybe overthought it, and then coaches do that. We do that all the time. I'm telling you right now, I've done it on countless times where we go, okay, they're going to throw a punch here, let's counter and jab here, and then it's like, but wait a minute, I got to go back to the old Mike Tyson theory. Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth, and then what happens? So in this case, for me, as just an outsider, as a fan, maybe overthought this one. South Range deserved the win, so I don't want it to make. I'm just trying to put it as as we all know what side of the aisle I stand on, and Anthony. That's why it was great. Is we represented YSN, but we were also fans of. We're obviously fans of both, so we don't want to confuse anybody. But we got to play a little game with each other inside the booth a little bit, which was fun and entertaining to us. So
there was moments in that game, and Anthony, I think you talked about it in the top of the first. There was a bloop single by Irons to right field. That ball hit off the second baseman's glove, and if it were a baseball, that's caught. And she made an unbelievable diving play towards right field, but it falls out of her glove and trickles into right field. There were so many moments like that for Ursuline that did not go their way and went the way of South Range. And I don't think anybody from South Range is going to mind me saying that, but sometimes you need some of that to get into these and pass these big games. The baseball team had it 3 years ago, and now the South Range softball team is acquiring some of this luck and some of these, usually plays that don't go your way during the year. You get some of these duck farts out to right field that go. So talk to me about, did you see that? Some of these going the way of the Raiders?
It's all about how you take advantage of those plays, though. Reagan Irons gets the single. It's a lucky, maybe, could have been caught. It wasn't, but then they take advantage of it, and Stakowicz comes up and hits a home run. If they strike out 2 times and then the inning's over, that whole lucky single is irrelevant. But taking advantage of those plays that go your way is big in softball and baseball. You have to be able to take those opportunities when they come. And South Range did that, because if they don't score in the first, then really they were pretty much shut down the rest of the game outside of the Brie Kohler scoring from second on a swinging bunt. So
let's go back just a little bit there in that first inning, because South Range made a huge no-no in the very early going and tried to do a delay steal and broke the cardinal rule, never make the first or last out at third base. And they did a delay steal, and Ursuline picked up on it, went right back to Paige Ogden, fired it over to third base, got Brie, and then 2 pitches later, Yahtzee time. So what could have been a 3-run dinger was only a 2.
And I think that was the uneasiness that you felt at that stadium because you're sitting there, you're like, wow, 3 runs goes a long way in this game. And then later on, the next inning, they got the extra run.
Right, and then it was just you're talking about a hustle play and an IQ play more or less, where the ball was hit and it was spinning out of control and trying to go towards the foul line, but really never really got there. So it took a little bit of time to gather it up and make the throw to first base, which the runner at first was safe. And Brie Kohler came from second base all the way around and scored. That was the third run, what eventually would be the winning run.
I feel like I can speak for all of us in saying that at the end of the game, there was nobody that was there that felt 100% confident that that game was not going to go the other direction. Is that fair to say?
That ball went in the air, and I thought that's game over. And it was one way or another. But I really thought that ball was going over the fence, and you just see her going back, and Anthony's getting excited. I'm getting even more excited. I'm cutting Anthony off, and I'm like, back, feeling like Chris Berman. And it's caught? What?
There's that moment where Billy was just like, oh, because you wanted that call. Everybody wants that call, no matter which way it goes. But I think that when was it Liza that was on second base at the end of the game there? When she turned around and it was whiteout day for the Ursuline fans, she turned around, that entire bleacher section at center field was littered with fans. It was covered from pillar to post, whether it be South Range, just general softball fans, or Ursuline. There was I want to say it was probably the baseball team, but it was in general, it was
a lot of them. The boys' baseball team,
section. Yeah. And they were all in white and they were amped up. Liza turns around. She's trying to pump up the crowd to get that energy and to turn the tables on South Range. And I thought to myself, oh boy, because those first 2 outs were like this. And then they got it going. And I thought, oh boy, we got something here, boys. We got something here. And, that was a loud out to right field. And obviously, one that, it's tough. It's a tough position for any coach, any player to be the last out of a season that was supposed to end with you raising a trophy. But, you got a D1 player that's going to Toledo. Probably not many people that you want up in that situation with their sister on second, knowing the gravity of the situation. And Maris just got under it a little bit. If she's up a little bit, that thing's still going. And, the disappointment, obviously, it was apparent for Ursuline. You credit South Range for the way they handled it. They wanted to make sure that they tipped their cap to the Lady Irish, and we're still in that weird COVID space where, you want to shake hands, but you can't shake hands, but you want to. And then, it was a weird ending. You know what I mean? Everybody kind of felt it because it was like that big build up, and you were like, ooh, we wanted a good game. That's all. Whoa. We wanted a good game, and that's all we wanted. Yeah, no, Taekwondo right there. Mighty Taekwondo for a microphone. But we got our good game, but it was, you could feel on one side just the air was out of the sails. It was. They knew that this was a year that it was championship or bust, being ranked number 1 throughout the year in the state. That's a tough pill to swallow. And this is a rivalry that has built for at least as long as we've been around at YSN. It's always Ursuline wants to take on South Range wants to take on Ursuline. Sometimes the coaches, and then Billy, I think you alluded to it, the coaches are more at it, against one another than the players are, because these players are swapping teams to play with each other. So it was an interesting, for me to be able to not necessarily be in the broadcast, but kind of, do the filming, do the shooting and production side, but kind of hear what is going on throughout the game was really interesting, because there was a moment where the officials were under fire from one side and they weren't having it. I mean, there was moments on both sides that there was things being said, but one side in particular, you got to be very careful in that situation.
I will say this, just as the game lived up to every expectation that I thought it was going to. It was one of the reasons why I moved mountains to make sure I was there.
Sure did.
And if you didn't catch it, you missed a good one. But don't worry, you can go right back in our archives at ysn.com and make sure you buy that, because this is one of those games all year from any sport. This is one of the ones you want to have in your archive on a rainy day. There ain't nothing going on. You throw this game back on because it had everything. It had everything you wanted. It had good pitching. It had hitting at times. It had sparks. It had drama. It had late inning heroics. It had everything you wanted in a game. This was something that you should probably get and keep in your archives for yourself.
Heroics?
Whatever. Or heroics.
Hero, Mac. Let's get a couple different perspectives. Let's start with Coach. Which, by the way, why are you going so professional down there today, Matthew?
I just decided to dress it up a little bit.
A little bow tie on it. I respect that.
Yeah, put a little bow tie on the broadcast.
From a coach's perspective, are there ever times when you kind of are split 50-50 on what to do, and you overthink the situation, that you just go, listen, at this point, I just need to go with X or go with Y?
Sure. And I think that there's, gut feelings for coaches. And I think that, you definitely, you don't want to overthink yourself. And sometimes you just have to go with that gut feeling. And I've done it before. It's paid off. It's not paid off. It just kind of, those are the breaks of the game, I guess. We were talking about how, if Maris hits that ball a half an inch or a quarter of an inch different, it might be the difference in the game. And, those are just the breaks of sports, I think. And some days you've got them on your side. Some days you don't have them on your side. But, anytime that there's those decisions, you got to trust the people that are around you to help you make those decisions. That's why, as coaches, we're always thankful that we've got staffs that we trust around us. And so you go into your coaches' meetings and your coaches' rooms, and you have that discussion, and you come out with the best decision that you think, puts your team in the best situation. And sometimes you're right, and sometimes you're wrong.
In a situation like this, do you ever, let's just put it and call it what it is, do you ever get gun shy? If you make a bad decision or a decision that doesn't go your way, not necessarily a bad decision, just one that doesn't go the way you thought it would, do you ever get gun shy on future decisions because of that?
So, and that's a good question, but I've always lived by the mindset that the minute that you start getting gun shy about making those decisions, like, I'm a head coach because I want to be the guy that makes those decisions. I want to be the guy that has those calls. And the minute that you start to get gun shy and shy away from making those decisions, it's probably the time that you might need to step aside. If you don't want that pressure or the weight of, the consequences of the decision, then you might need to step aside and just be an assistant coach or get out of the game entirely.
That's what I was going to ask you, Coach, is like, if you're going to be in that shoes, you got to be okay with making that decision. You also got to be okay with going, this one's on me, guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I made the bad choice. I made the decision or whatnot, and then own it. And then you're good. And then, what? Because your players have worked probably their butt off all year for you. So, hey,
you're
Coach,
right.
We got you. Don't worry about it.
And that's a really good point that you make, Mac, because, when you step into one of these positions and, hey, I'm at a small school, but I understand it, in talking with other guys that are at bigger schools and getting to know some of these guys, and even knowing some college coaches, you've got to have big, broad shoulders as a coach, and you've got to have the ability to kind of turn off the media and say, you know what, I'm making the best decision for my kids. And at the end of the day, I'm going to live with whatever the consequences of that decision are. And, if you want fire bullets at me, because I'm a grown man. Don't fire bullets at my kids.
Yeah, and that's the difficult part nowadays, because
My
kids,
Gundy, I hear it. Oklahoma State, I hear it.
I'm a man. I'm 40. I'm a man.
Hang on, I'm not 40.
I'm close to 40. I'm a man.
I am 37 years old.
I'm a 37-year-old man.
I would say one of the situations that we had yesterday, I mean, the atmosphere was amazing. It was just amazing. Everywhere you look, there was school spirit. Tomorrow marks the day, guys, where everything goes back to normal. We are going to talk about that when we come back, but we are going to talk about that and a lot of other stuff. How the crowd transformed a game like yesterday, but we certainly don't want to go anywhere. And Ty will get you involved, don't worry, in the second half of the broadcast. We want to thank our sponsors here at the bottom that consistently and constantly make things possible for us. iSynergy, WRS Wealth Advisors, K-Squared Marketing, Myers Family Insurance, Berlin Lake Golf Club, and, of course, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. These folks have been instrumental on the growth of YSN and the reason that we can do this every day, barring holidays and obviously, games all over. Yesterday people were getting on me about why didn't we do a game yesterday, or why didn't we do the Power Hour yesterday. Here's the thing, we had a game like that going on. Watch the game. We don't want to take away from the game. We want to highlight the game. And a game like that, I mean, we had, I think, and I'm going to put this out there, and I know Billy's not going to get all gushy about it, but I think we had two of our best softball announcers on that game. And, obviously we wanted to give you guys the red carpet treatment, roll it out there for you, and give you all eyes on you. So, and you did just that. So thanks to our sponsors for giving us the opportunity not only to do this, but to go out to these games and do it. Yeah. I know I had an awesome conversation with one of our sponsors here today, and he just gushed about the growth and what we're doing, and we ain't done yet. We're not done yet. We're not even close. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the effects that the crowd is going to have starting tomorrow. No more masks and full capacity in Ohio. What is that going to look like this summer? Are people going to be overly excited? Can you burn yourself out over the course of a couple innings with that excitement instead of tempering it a little bit and what you're used to? We'll talk about that. And we're also going to, of course, bring you the G. Berbick Farms What's Your Beef, brought to you by our friends over at G. Berbick Farms. But before that, we get to a break. Here we go.
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer goes the extra mile to bring you the largest selection of vehicles at one convenient location. With guaranteed credit approval, I will find you the right vehicle and the right financing options for you. I am ready to go the extra mile to show you why no other dealer sells more cars, finances more, and gets you more for your refund than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the four words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Jimmy Sudman here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and two of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the YSN Power Hour. Looks like we gained a body during the break. It is the beach body, Paul Munson. What's going on, Munson?
Yeah. What's up, fellas?
Hey, our show starts at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, you and Ty, what the hell's going on here?
I was driving home.
He's on beach time.
Yeah.
He is on beach time.
Lake Erie Beach.
Nothing wrong with Lake Erie Beach.
Hey,
Not a
beach
bit.
is a beach.
That's right. It was the first time we've been up there. It was pretty fun yesterday.
Life is a beach, right, Paul? Just for you.
That's right.
before we went to break, we did have a question from Amo. He wants to know, does Range have a shot to win it all now with this momentum? And let's toss it over to Ant. Ant, this is a team they're going to be playing that beat the number one team in the state, supposedly. How do you like South Range's odds here on Friday at 10?
The funny thing about it, I think both those teams, Ursuline and South Range, have the pieces to make a run at state, which is why it's so bummer that one team had to lose, because I think both of them have a legitimate chance to make a run. South Range won that game, and I think the pitching, they have the pieces. They have the pitching, they have the offense, and they have the defense. So when you have pitching, offense, and all of them are working together in one cylinder, then you can absolutely make a run at state. Now, we know Wheelersburg is sitting in that bracket, and we know that was the matchup in 16 when South Range went down there. So, they have to get past Johnstown first, who is a team that's dealing with a lot. They have a little bit of tragedy going on with their program, so they're playing like a motivational group of athletes that are playing spirited softball. So they're going to have to kind of get past Johnstown, and then we'll see where the chips fall if they make it the championship game.
Listen, if you win this game, it doesn't matter who you play in a state championship. I mean, I think, Paul, you can probably attest to that. You get to that point, you can be playing the Pittsburgh Pirates, and it doesn't matter. The adrenaline's going to take you, and you'll probably win if you play the Pirates, but the adrenaline's going to take you to the next level, and it's a one-game playoff at that point, and it's for all, you're putting all your chips on the table. I know Coach DeRose very well, and obviously I know Coach Farron as well, very well too. They've been waiting for this moment. They've been waiting, and they're not going to leave any bullets in the gun, so to speak. They're not going to sit there and go, we're not going to keep our powder dry. We're going all in. And if we lose, at least we lose knowing that we left it all on the table. So I'm very interested to see how this goes. I respect the fact that the emotional, what Johnstown's going through right now, but South Range is going through something too. And we saw it yesterday. They beat a team that has had the upper leg for a long time. You know what I mean? They've had the bragging rights, and that's something that South Range, that's the monkey that they've won off their back, and now they got it. And, Paul, a few years ago, there was one team that they said, well, South Range is just going to get hit by a buzzsaw, and you guys beat them, and then the rest was history.
Yep, 100%. This was the matchup, everybody around here wanted to see for a long time. And when it happened, it was billed as the big heavyweight fight. And then I think in the last thing, it exploded into being that heavyweight fight that everybody wanted to see. And, listen, for the Raider fans, in their mind, the best team won. So, you had two teams that really, was there going to be a loser out of that? Yeah, there was. But, you see two good heavyweights go at it. Somebody has to lose. And so I think it was great to see. I was getting updated the whole time, up there hanging out, and I was loving it for the guys and that were there calling the game. And then, for the girls, I saw a lot of the girls in school today, and they're still kind of excited about it. They're back they're practicing today. So, they're getting ready. So they got another step to go.
For me, for the future, you could say, okay, let's talk about pitching. Do they have I think they have one of the best Final Four pitchers in Division III, right? She's got to be at least as good, Brie. We're talking about Brie Kohler, as good or if not better than the pitcher. So let's check mark there. Lineup wise, they got to be one of the top teams in the state in scoring runs. So let's go ahead and check mark there. Defensively, we're talking about one error in the entire postseason.
Yeah,
they got a chance, right? That's why you play the game. Why can't they win state now? Right? They finally accomplished what, in their minds, what needed to be done. They took care of business against a really good Ursuline team. Now they're in a state championship run here. They're in the Final Four. So why can't they?
I think that's going to be the one thing that you have to guard against. And from a coach's perspective, that's the thing that is probably the biggest warning flag. And I'm so glad to hear that, they're back out there practicing today, because everybody did have this matchup circled for a long time. And so you don't want to continue to just ride the high of coming off of that matchup. You want to be able to continue it and say, look, we've still got things to accomplish here.
Yeah. It was huge. It was absolutely huge. And I think everybody got their money's worth from that standpoint, whether you were at the game or watching on YSN. I think everybody just appreciated great softball being played. Before we get to how the crowds will change everything this week, let's hand out some hardware because for the first time ever, we're able to hand out first we did the Coach of the Year last week. Now, today, we are going to hand out the Offensive Player of the Year for softball and for baseball. And for softball, ladies and gentlemen, one young lady that we haven't mentioned thus far is Julia Nutter of Ursuline, who takes home the Offensive Player of the Year, also known as the Golden Bat Award here on YSN. Nutter has been obviously named the Golden Bat Award winner for YSN. Nutter batted .548 during the 2021 season with a slugging percentage of, 1,000, an OPS of 1,500, and that's being generous. And out of her 51 hits of this year, and this is my favorite stat brought to you by Anthony, out of her 51 hits this year, over half of them, as a matter of fact, went for extra bases, including 7 home runs and 50 runs batted in. During her tenure at Ursuline, Julia set a career home run record at UHS with 18, as well as a single-season RBI record her sophomore year, 2 years ago. Now remember, didn't have her junior year to add to this. She did that with 52 runs batted in her sophomore year. And also, she will be going to Slippery Rock this fall. So congratulations to Julia. Anthony, talk about Miss Nutter and what she means to the area softball scene and to Ursuline.
That picture is her swing is so pure. Her head's right to the ball, hands quick. She's one of the hitters that's rare. She doesn't sacrifice average for her power numbers. She's hitting .548, but she's still among the team leaders, 2 off the lead in home run, but does lead the team in RBI. And she's just another linchpin in that awesome Ursuline lineup. I think she's one of the best pure hitters in the area, period. And her power numbers speak for herself. Like we said, over half of her hits, 26 out of 51 hits are extra base hits, including a couple of triples along with a handful of doubles, and then, of course, the 7 home runs. So just a phenomenal hitter. She sees the ball so well. She doesn't chase pitches. And when she can see the ball and make contact, it's going far.
Well, and I think that stat that you handed out was the one that was the difference maker for me, because I like average. I like someone that gets on for average. I like somebody that is consistent. But when you have 51 hits and half of them are go for extra bases, that's special. Like, you don't hear that because it doesn't happen. So congratulations to Julia Nutter of Ursuline for being the Offensive Player of the Year, also the Golden Bat Award winner. Now, for the boys, drum roll please, is Josh Juliano of Canfield, the junior standout. You look at his statistics, and a lot of people are going to say, and this is no offense to Josh, a lot of people are going to say, who? But look at this. Juliano's average and on-base percentage is listed at the top in Ohio among any division. According to sources such as Max Preps, 77 plate appearances, Juliano hit .552 with 32 hits, 16 RBIs, and scored 25 times. So you think about that. If he got on with hits 32 times, he scored 25 of those. Now, naturally, there's 13 walks to be added to that, but he only struck out 6 times, guys, the entire season. So his on-base percentage, .632 for the Cardinals, and also stole 15 bases along the way. And here's some high praise from Coach Niddle, the Coach of the Year here at YSN. Says, Josh is one of the hardest workers I've ever coached. Early in the season, Coach Havrilla asked him to make a couple of adjustments in his swing, worked at it with the results that followed. He's been a table setter for us all year, and in the leadoff spot, helping us to a 23-0 record. Couldn't be more proud of this young man, and he is only a junior. So congratulations to Josh Juliano, this year's 2021 Offensive Player of the Year and the Golden Bat recipient. You look at a kid like Josh Juliano, and there's going to be a lot of people who have knocked on our door, called us, and said, wait. My kid has, 5 home runs, 10 doubles. Listen.
Wasn't he batting close to 700 at one point this year?
He was.
Yeah.
And to be on one of the best teams in Ohio and be the table setter and bat .552. That is impressive.
Yeah, I mean, there's other guys out there that might have a better batting average right now, a couple points higher. But you know what? I mean, put all those numbers together, and you're sitting there going, at one point,
maybe.
At one point, he was, like I said, he was batting over 700. He was in the top 2, I think, in the state at one point.
He's He's number 1. He's number 1 in the state, at least to what has been reported. Now, obviously, there's a lot that goes with 77 plate appearances. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, you can have a kid that gets a couple at bats a year, and he's batting 1,000 or 750 because he's got 4 at bats and he got on 3 of them. But that doesn't compare to 77 at bats, and you've got almost a 600 average. That's crazy.
Listen, to me, that ends the conversation right there. I mean, to have that kind of an average and that many plate appearances on a team that was getting everybody's best stuff all year long, that's just impressive, and hats off to Josh for that.
Yeah, not to mention, the kid runs like a bullet, too. And, I mean, getting a chance to see him, I mean, swiping bags all the time. So you take that on top of the fact that this kid gets on base all the time, and he turns singles into doubles and triples every time he gets on. I mean, that's exactly why Canfield's offense is so dynamic. They got a runner 90 or 180 feet away to start the first inning every single time. And with the way that they make contact, all they got to do, a couple of fly balls, and you already are up 1-0 in the first. Because this kid just gets on, and I mean, Richie obviously with ties to him too, and unfortunately he's not here to give him the praise. But Josh Juliano really is really a incredible ball player, and getting a chance to see him a couple of times with speed, average, just plate discipline and protecting the plate. I mean, like you said, 6 strikeouts throughout the season. That's a very impressive stat too.
So let's put this in perspective, right? For some people maybe who just don't know baseball, okay? 7 out of 10 times you're going to fail at this sport. It's the only sport you're going to fail more than you succeed. Okay, the only one. Okay, if you go shoot 30% from the free throw line, you're not playing basketball. All right, he doubled that. He doubled what was considered to be great in this game. 6 out of 10 times this guy's getting on base, or not even getting on base, hitting for a single or more. And on base, you said over 700, correct? Isn't that what you said earlier? Yeah. So it's 7 out of 10 plate appearances. This guy's on base. Josh is on base.
632. Sorry.
So ridiculous. That's like numbers you don't hear. This is like little league baseball numbers, like not even that times like on steroids, pardon the pun, but like it's ridiculous.
Oh by the way, in case we get some numbers just out of thin air, he's also on a team that's 23-0.
Yeah,
I mean that's a big calculator in this, and you're on a team that hasn't lost a game. That is huge, because as Coach Niddle said, you're the table setter. You're the guy that sets the tone for the entire game, and Josh has done that, and that's why he is where he is. And listen, he kind of came on the scene all of a sudden. There's nobody that's going to sit there other than maybe Richie and say, I know who Josh Juliano is, only because he rooms with him. But I'll say this is now people will know, and there's going to be coaches out there that understand, okay, I need a guy like that. He's probably not going to send it in the cheap seats very often. However, he's going to be the difference between a 1-run game and a game that goes extras or a loss. So that's what you look at.
And he only struck out 6 times this year. I mean, the pitching that Canfield goes up against, and Boardman and Howland, Fitch,
Hoban,
a lot of good pitching, and he's only struck out 6 times. He does his job in the leadoff spot. He puts the ball in play, puts pressure on the defense, and that's why his average is so high.
And exactly how Anthony said, I think that's perfectly put. He does his job. And, this game isn't always all about smacking home runs and hitting bombs out of the yard. Sometimes you need that. And, I mean, personifies the leadoff position perfectly. You ask any coach in this area, give me a leadoff hitter that he maybe doesn't hit any home runs, but he hits .532 and gets on base 63% of the time. Every single coach is going to say, yeah, I'll take that.
Get him on, get him over, get him in, get a win. And that's what Canfield's done, and they've done it with Josh Juliano at the top of the lineup. So hats off again to Double J. Makes
the bird sing too. He's so damn good.
We got Tweety Bird. So before we get to our G. Burbick Farms, I want to do a quick overview. Do you guys think that the effect of the crowds, the people that are going to be able to come in with everything being kind of washed, COVID is obviously it's still here. Well, the
left the building.
restrictions have been washed away. Do you feel like this is going to enhance the sporting events again? Do you think it's going to take it to a different level? Ty, you're nodding your head. Go ahead.
I mean, I never realized how much I loved the crowd in sporting events until it was taken away. And that's from a professional all the way down to a high school level, and how much I miss the crowd and how much I miss seeing full capacity crowds. And I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that it plays effect, especially being home court, home field, however you put it, whatever sport you play. But home field and home court has, there's been plenty of mental tests done and everything on athletes, college and high school and professional. And they all say that, home court plays an absolute effect on them and the way that they perform because of the sound and the energy that a crowd can emit in a stadium or, on a field. And getting all that back and seeing full crowds and for our football, our basketball, our baseball games, and just getting that feeling of all the energy and all the crowds back, and it's not muted or muffled by masks anymore, and it's truly loud. So when you hear those home runs, those touchdowns, or that big shot in basketball, or the big kill in volleyball too, I mean, it's all going to be there too, and you're going to hear it throughout the stadiums, the gyms, and the field. So I'm very excited to have crowds back, and it's going to be very nice to see them back fully loaded.
Months, as you guys turn your attention to regional play, you go to Massillon, Washington to play your first game. Talk to me about what it's going to be like for you to see those stands probably packed. Good talk. He's going. Let's go, Coach.
I think it's going to be awesome. From what I heard yesterday, was
his face isn't even talking, but I hear Paul.
I had no idea Paul was a ventriloquist.
I'm here.
Is he back? Max Headroom, you there?
That's right.
There he is.
That's right.
Got all kind of tricks.
And then?
He's on some monster delay. He has
gone.
to be.
All right.
He's gone. Coach, take us through it.
Yeah, so, as a coach, obviously thrilled to be able to have fans back into the stands. And even further than that, as a coach that sometimes criticizes officials maybe just a little bit. I'm looking forward to not every single word that I say being able to be heard with everybody back in the stands this year.
I can get behind that. Mac, what's your take on this?
So I seen a thing today. My brother sent me a TikTok. I'm not super familiar with TikToks, although I understand what they are. He sent me a crowd of Texas A&M where there was 4 balls in a row and they're screaming ball 5 and the whole stadium is packed. Ball 6 and there were 6 balls. The ball 7 all the way to 12 and the kid threw 12 balls in a row. I mean, you have to go at some point. You got to go. That's because of the crowd. There's no other explanation, right? Because if there's no crowd there, he's probably firing in 1 or 2 strikes in there at some point, right? Because he doesn't feel the pressure. I mean, you can almost announcers talk about cutting that tension with a knife, and that's because of the crowd that's in play.
Yeah, Rory McIlroy actually likes the crowds more. He said it affected his game opposite. He wasn't able to concentrate because it was so quiet. Yeah, exactly, like Happy.
Come on, let me hear you a little bit.
Anthony, let's hear from you. How do you think crowds are going to affect things with them coming back?
It's like an adrenaline high being a part of that atmosphere. I mean, we did the West Branch games at Firestone, and everyone was packed into that place. And DJ, you've called the game at Firestone before. They put you right in the middle of the crowd up top. I mean, you are one side, one fan base, the other side, the other fan base, and you can really feel the energy. And we were in that 8:30 start time, and the rain started to go, and the crowds were still going, and West Branch was picking up energy in that 6th inning. There was nothing like the momentum and the energy that crowd brought you, and it was really fun to be a part of that atmosphere again. And then, of course, the game we did at YSU yesterday, where the whole community pretty much came out to either cheer for one team or watch. It's almost like an adrenaline high being in that kind of atmosphere.
Let's go to Paul Munson for the final wrap, brought to you by America Online.
Yeah. Hold on. Nobody use the phone right now. I'm on the Power Hour. Okay, everybody's good. Like I said, I heard the crowd was awesome there yesterday. Everybody was cheering. I mean, I'm excited for it to get back there. We had a pretty good crowd at our district championship game out in Niles, and I'm looking for a good crowd to come up there on Thursday as well. I mean, being 5 o'clock, everybody will be out of school and be able to make it up there. So it's going to be exciting. I'm ready for it too. Oh, hold on. Stay off there. I hear you over there. I think that I've got mail. Hold on. There it is. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it, and I'm excited too to have to, finally get these damn masks off and not have to worry about them anymore. So I'm ready for the crowds, ready to hear them.
That, once again, brought to you by our friends over at America Online. You've got mail. Let's get to our G. Berwick Farms filet or beef. Brought to you again by our friends at G. Berwick Farms. Visit them on New Buffalo Road in Columbiana, or dial them up on the web, Paul, at gberwickfarms.com. Let's go first and foremost to Anthony.
I'm usually a pretty positive guy. I usually bring in a filet, but I do have a beef today, and it's with adults on social media that like to tear down high school students based on a result of a particular sporting event. I mean, if you want to take a shot at the coach's decision, or if you want to take a shot at the umpires, but don't tear down high school kids based on sports. I mean, there are so much more important things in life. We love sports, but it's not worth tearing kids down because you weren't happy about a particular result. So that really grinds my gears when I see people going after kids, especially on social media.
Ty Bartell.
As much as I don't like those fans, Anthony, I do have a filet, and it is going to be tied into the fans coming back. And, over the past year doing basketball, football, and baseball games, we carried the freight here at YSN, and we covered all these schools, and we were able to bring these to everyone that wasn't in attendance. But, as much as we love everyone supporting them from afar, and we love everyone supporting YSN too, there was always something it seemed like that was missing from the games too, and it was just the energy of the crowd, and just to see everyone back in the stadiums and everything, and just have you guys back in there cheering on your teams and everything, and to feel that energy and that electricity again is going to be real fun. So I'm excited too, just in time for baseball championships, softball championships too, and then ready for our football season coming up.
Muncie.
All right, so I have a small beef and then a big filet. So my small beef obviously is, whatever the hell's going on again with my internet. I'm at home. But I don't know what's going on. I was better off at school. I should just stay there and use the internet. But that's my little beef. But my big filet obviously is, hey, listen, I'm a homer. I don't hide it. Everybody knows it. So Raider Nation. Springtime at South Range right now is awesome. So the girls doing their thing, going to be the state semifinalist, and the boys team. We have our game on Thursday in the regionals. Uh-oh. I got mail. I wonder if that's from my guy in Maslin. I've been waiting on that one. So, but yeah, just springtime and Raider Nation. And we got a kid going to run in state too on Saturday. So congratulations to Michael Vizdos. So, yeah.
Good job, Paulie. Coach?
Double filet for me today. First filet is Anthony Calderon at Sebring is for the first time since the track program's been back for 2 years. He's qualified for state in the long jump, and so on Friday he'll be down there jumping for Sebring. So big tip of the cap to him. And my second play is I got probably my favorite gift I've ever gotten, and somebody sent me a pair of brand new Hey Dudes. So I can't wait to put them on. Not a sponsor yet. Not a sponsor yet, but I can't wait to put them on.
They're comfortable,
Coach.
again.
I want to see that. They look like look at the colors.
Right? Yeah.
Fancy Nancy.
They are very comfortable, Coach.
Looking forward
take it
to
from Beachbody. Let's go to
I got
Matt
2 pair.
Solo. Uh-oh.
Hey, I got two fillets. The first fillet yesterday, Memorial Day, had the big fam come on over to the house, and we had a good cookout, and it was a lot of fun, and it was good to see everybody. And second one was just yesterday in general, I guess. Ant, killing it in the booth with me, and we had a great time. We we're supporting YSN and both teams pretty hard, and it was a long season, and we really enjoyed it. And just for the fans to come out and talk about the fans a little bit. So I got a new word. It was fantific.
Fantific?
Fantific.
What does that mean?
It's a new word. I just created it right now. It means fans who are fantastic. Fantific. It's a new thing. You got to get up to date.
That doesn't
the
even
kids
make
are all saying
sense.
No, they could just be fantastic because it's got fan in it.
Fantific.
You know, okay.
Fantific. I just made it up. Thing.
Go get your thesaurus out there.
I'm gonna go with a little fillet here. You know, we this is actually sponsored by G. Burbick Farms, and Greg Burbick and I had a chance to spend some time yesterday, and we did a Memorial Day parade, which with so many things being shut down, it was good to kind of stand up and say, you know what, we're gonna try to do what's right here, and we got such great response from just literally being in the back of a pickup truck and streaming cars driving by. And it was a great experience because it's good to see, after everything we went through in November, no matter which side of the fence you're on, it was good to see Americans unite for something, for anything. And, you know, and especially on Memorial Day where, you know, the people who were honoring and remembering are the people that were going into gunfire, knowing that they're probably not making out. And at the end of the day, for us, it's a whole reason that we're here. It's a huge reason of why we're here. We couldn't do what we do every day without the freedoms that were provided to us. So, as always, I want to thank our men and women in the armed forces and that serve our country and no matter what way, including their families who also serve. So thank you to them. Thank you to Greg for the invite to do that and for pushing me to say, let's just buck the trend here and go and do what's right. Because it was a great day. It was a great opportunity. And for me, it was a great day. I got to spend time with family later that evening and got to watch a great softball game right in the middle. And then, of course, you know, we had the parade in the beginning. So thanks to everybody on that. And that is my filet brought to you by G. Burbick Farms. Again, on New Buffalo Road in Columbiana and on gburbickfarms.com. What are you doing there, Mr. Fantific?
Fantific. It's a new word. It'll be in Wikipedia later on.
It's huge. It's a huge word.
Everybody's using it. Everybody is using it.
Nobody is using it, as a matter
Nobody.
of fact. Fans who are terrific. Did Kate just help you out there?
Fantific.
I'm trying to make Fantific happen. It's not going to happen.
That's going to do it
Yes.
for our show today. I want to thank all of you guys.
Fetch isn't going to happen, Billy.
Mac and Matt and Muntz and Ty and, of course, cameo from Anthony Hartwig. You can see Anthony tomorrow on Running Point from 12 to 3 right here on YSN. Until next time, tomorrow at 3 o'clock, that's going to do it for our show. So, as we do every show, wave the banner.